All right. Las Vegas, 1985. While Ronald Reagan was getting ready for his second term in office, a former TV repairman, Tommy Carmichael, was sentenced to 3 years in prison after he was caught using a homemade cheating device in a Las Vegas casino. This device that he made, called a light wand, was used to go in and temporarily disable the slot machines and trick them into paying a jackpot every single time you spin the wheel. So while he was in prison, instead of reflecting on his mistakes and changing his new path, Carmichael actually met up with other Vegas cons who got locked away for doing the same thing as him. And they shared ideas, connections, thoughts about the whole situation, and basically inspired Carmichael to continue to create cheating devices for other cheaters out there. So when he got out, he quickly went to a casino and started cheating again, but he realized that his old device didn't work anymore. While he was gone, they updated the machines and it rendered his gadget useless, basically. So as a response, Carmichael impersonated a casino owner, scheduled a tour with a slot machine manufacturer, and had them give him the walkthrough of their new machines. So they pointed out all the strengths, the weaknesses, the flaws. So after that visit, Carmichael was able to go and create a new device that was more effective and produced even more money than his previous device. He went on to do this, creating new devices for the next 20 years, evading police. But eventually, in July 4th, 2001, the FBI and technology finally caught up with Carmichael, and they built a mountain of evidence against him. So he was facing a very stiff sentence in jail. So he only had one option left to get himself out. So I know most of you guys are thinking, I've never been to Vegas, I'm probably not going to go anytime soon, so why do I even care? You don't have to fly to Vegas to go cheat at a casino or have it affect you. In fact, Florida's largest casino is located only an hour's drive away from Orlando. It's called the Seminole Hard Rock Casino in Tampa Bay. I've actually been there before, and it's beautiful. So it's actually hard not to imagine what it would be like to walk out of that machine and hit a jackpot every single time. Like, how many of you guys have dreamt of walking out of a casino with arms full of money, kind of like Zach Galifianakis did in the movie Hangover? I personally have a few times. Actually, my first time at a casino, I went to North Carolina for my 21st and went to the very first slot machine, did the minimum bet, spun it, and very first spin, I won $200. So I kind of got hooked on slot machines after that. That's why I chose this topic. But unlike Tommy Carmichael, I had my lucky shirt to thank. I didn't have a cheating device like he did. So casinos are a big target. They revenue $70 billion per year. So to put that in perspective, they make enough money to build 126 Empire State Buildings every single year. So it's a pretty big target for thieves. And Forbes.com says that 80% of casinos' revenue comes from their slot machines. So you'd automatically think, if I'm going to go steal from a casino, I'm going to steal from a slot machine. But today's technology has kind of made that impossible. It's virtually impossible to go in and hack one of these new 21st century machines. They have a lot of hardware and software to prevent that. So instead, most cheaters that are successful today cheat at card games like 21, which is blackjack, poker, and baccarat. In fact, in 2018, there was a duo, a cheater and an inside dealer, who worked together in a Maryland casino to cheat at the game of baccarat. So normally baccarat, you have just under a 50% chance of winning each hand. But that day, Nai Chuhang went in and won 18 out of 21 hands, which gave him an 85% chance of winning. And he walked out that night with $850,000. So he walked free, but the casino experts kind of reviewed the tapes and saw that that was an odd little blip. Nobody usually makes 85% of their wins in baccarat. So they went in and reviewed their tape and realized that Nye had made a deal with the dealer beforehand and said, hey, if you don't shuffle a portion of this deck, I'm going to split my winnings with you. So really quickly, using sleight of hands, the dealer shuffled everything around, but he held on to a portion of the deck, which Nye knew the results to. So he went ahead and placed all of his big bets right when he knew which card was coming next. They also revealed that he went and talked to all of the other players at the table, handed them money before they sat down and said, follow my lead, bet when I bet. And afterwards, they all won and handed their money back to Nye. So he walked out with a lot of money. Eventually, after a bunch of investigation, Nye pleaded guilty to conspiracy to transport stolen funds and served 13 months in prison. Then he was deported back to his country afterwards and banned from the USA, or banned from Las Vegas. The dealer who was involved received an 18-month sentence with an additional 3 years supervised work release so that he could pay back a portion of the stolen winnings. So cheating can be easy, but avoiding the FBI, that's where you're going to run into some trouble. Which brings me to my next point. If I'm sneaky enough, will they even know if I cheated? Quick answer is yes, and here's why. Casinos have 3 lines of defense. First line of defense is the casino staff. They have trained dealers and floor staff that go in and supervise, and if they see any suspicious behavior, they immediately report it to security, which comes in and handles it. They also train all of their workers how to cheat at the game, so they know what to look for. And lastly, law enforcement also works inside the casino. They have special officers whose jurisdiction is only in the casinos, so getting them to the cheaters is actually pretty quick. Next line of defense is video monitoring. So casinos portion out a big chunk of their budget on surveillance and theft protection. So they're constantly having a team that's going in and reviewing every square inch of the casino looking for cheaters and suspicious behavior. They also have facial recognition features that can go in and target people who have been blacklisted or banned from the casino. So they'll go in and scope you out there. And lastly, if you're able to avoid the casino staff and the cameras, you'll get caught in the long run due to casino accountants. So accountants go in and compare the stats from each game day to day and month to month, week to week, and they realize what the usual win percentage is. So if somebody like Chengguan Nye goes in and wins 85% of his hands, they instantly know, hey, this guy's winning about 40% more than what normal people win, so they go in and get you afterwards. So that brings me to the next point. What happens if I get caught cheating? Will I be thrown in jail, or will I end up in a ditch in Las Vegas, like most famous Hollywood movies make it seem like? These films were actually filmed ages before the facial recognition was developed, so catching cheaters is a lot easier. And the truth is that the casinos are very clean about how they approach fraud. They actually give several warnings first, so they'll go in and convince the dealer to basically annoy the cheater, make it known that they know that he's cheating so that he feels uncomfortable. And if he still doesn't leave at that point, they'll go in and send a pit boss to go talk to him face to face, give him a warning like, hey man, stop cheating, we know what you're doing. If he continues to do that then the casino can throw a trespassing act against them, which means next time they come into the casino, they're instantly kicked off, and if they refuse to leave, then they're handed over to law authorities. The local police usually side with the casinos in those situations, so fighting it is kind of pointless. You don't really get beat up like the movies make it seem like you do. Instead, you face legal charges such as grand larceny, racketeering, and money laundering. So you can face some stiff sentences with that. Which brings me back to my original point. What happened to Tommy Carmichael when he got caught? So Tommy Carmichael, the career cheater and the man who was responsible for millions of dollars in stolen money, nobody really knows exactly how much he stole, in July 4th, 2001, made a plea deal with police to hand over all of his inventions and teach them how they work in exchange for a lighter sentence. So they agreed, but they also brought Carmichael back into the casino to work for them as an anti-theft device creator. So he goes in and protects all of the slot machines and kind of predicts what the cheaters are going to do next. So today, 20 years later, you need to have a very particular skill set to cheat at a casino. You need to have expert knowledge, you need to have the ability to act in troubled situations, and you have to have a willingness to fend off FBI investigators and men like Tommy Carmichael who have switched sides and started working for the casino as anti-theft protection. So many of you will have one or two of these traits, but very few of you will have all three of them. And unless you do have all three of those traits, I suggest that you just stick to the rules. Thank you.